Okay, well, let's continue to move on to the regular audit committee. Chair Belknap, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to say, even though no action is coming out this month.
No action. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to our finance committee report with Vice Chair Jim Moss.
Hey, thank you, Vice Chair. Taking some of the fun from Chair Huntsman this month. We've got a couple of quick items. One just conforming to legislation, a couple others just continuation with a slight amendment and update. So first, if I could bring a motion. The committee moves that the board approves R277-607, absenteeism and truancy prevention, draft 2 on second and final reading.
Would you like to speak?
I'll just say briefly that this updates the rule to conform with changes in HB 81, which defined or added, excused reasons for absence being mental and behavioral health. And so this fleshes out a definition, and staff could speak to the details if there are any questions.
Thank you. Board member.
Yes, my question is, they've added the term behavior analyst. Can someone tell me what a behavior analyst is? I'm seeing psychiatrists, psychologists, counselors, social workers, neurologists, and then behavior. I just am wondering if there's someone that can add some clarification to what that role is.
We have AAG Buse with her hand up.
That is actually a licensed individual that's licensed by the Department of Professional Licensing, DOPL, that analyzes the impact of their environment around a student on their behavior when they have behavior problems, to help identify triggers for behaviors and help create solutions for problem behaviors. So they're actually licensed by DOPL for that.
Okay, and do you know what's the frequency of a behavior analyst in a district, or do they contract with districts?
They would have to either contract with them or hire them as an employee. They could do it either way. But I don't know the frequency of them.
Okay.
Now. I'm sorry. I wish I knew the answer to that for you. I don't know the answer to that.
That's okay. That's okay. I was curious about what the impact, what the frequency is in the usage. So if someone knows that, that'd be great. If not, we move on to other questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to Dr. Voorhees.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I can respond quickly to a board member Earl's question. Not all LEAs in the state of Utah have on staff or contracts with BCBAs, but many do. And our regional service centers also have contracts with BCBAs so that they can provide that service to the LEAs in their regional areas. So I would say we're pretty close to the majority of LEAs in the state that now have access to those types of services, either with an FTE or with a contract.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Board member Lear.
There, thank you. I don't like this rule. I only like it a little bit less than the law that was passed. I don't know that we have anything that we can do anything as a board, even if I were to convince you all to change this now. I just know that I've heard from several LEAs that the board is the legislation was misnamed, as is the rule, and it's really a pro-truancy, not an anti-truancy situation, where it's making it very easy for students who somehow became aware of this to just walk away from the SROs and not attend school. And I'm sort of the old school approach that we can't teach children unless they're there, or unless they're connected, whether it's literally there or figuratively there. So I am really troubled by this rule, and I hope as this moratorium goes forward, and maybe even during, we can look for ways to help LEAs to enforce attendance requirements. Don't want to hurt anybody's behavioral or mental health. I know that children it's been a difficult time for everyone, but I am just strongly in favor of giving LEAs some tools that are reasonable and fair to get children in school and keep them in school. So I'll be voting no, just because I philosophically disagree with this, although I understand there's nothing we can do except implement a bill that was passed.
Thank you. I'm going to take Board Member Klein and then Board Member Hanson, and maybe Dr. Voorhees could take some notes to address questions or concern as we move along. Board Member Klein.
Okay, I just had a question on just a clarification. Is this saying that they need to have a doctor's note, or it needs to be excused for them to take the day as a mental health day? Can you just clarify?
That is a good question. Maybe we'll pop back to Dr. Voorhees quickly and then go to Board Member Hanson.
Thank you, Vice Chair. So no, this rule, the purpose of the legislation is that so students can be excused for behavioral health issues, and behavioral health, the definition is right here in 2, the impact, the impact comes from the student's physical, mental health that are conditions that would be seen by, or would be considered by, reviewed by, or treated by one of these individuals. But the purpose of the rule is that a student's absence could be excused for a behavioral health issue. Not that they have to have a note from or have seen one of these professionals, but that the definition of behavioral health is parallel to our definition of physical health, which would require, requires not the right word, which if you have a physical health issue, the way you would know that you had a physical health condition is would a medical professional see you for that condition? So this definition parallels that, in that a mental health provider could see you for that condition, but the requirement is not that they do see you, simply that we define the term similarly to the way we define a physical health condition. Does that help clarify?
Yes, that helps a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Hanson.
Thanks. And Carol kind of stole my comment. I just really feel that this needs to be looked at further, because with the definition of truancy and without a need for an excuse, this doesn't give our educators a lot of tools to operate with as far as keeping our kids in school. I think that we have an obligation to implement the law with the rule, and so I'll be voting in favor of this, but we really need to encourage the legislature to follow through and take another look at this, I believe, as they are going to, and get something that's much more workable.
Thank you. Dr. Voorhees, did you have another comment? Your hand is still up.
Oh, sorry, no, taking it down.
Okay, seeing no other hands, please vote. I am seeing that all have voted in favor, except for there is a no vote from Board Member Lear.
Correct.
Okay, Board Member Vice Chair Moss, you want to continue?
Yes, thanks. Second is student transportation standards and procedures. This is simply a rule that's up for its 5-year continuation approval, and the committee felt it was appropriate to continue it. So action is the committee moves that the board continues and approves R277-600 student transportation standards and procedures draft 1 on second and final reading.
Thank you. Seeing no hands, please vote. Board Member Hart, Board Member Klein. Have you voted?
I've now seen them all.
Yes, that looks unanimous. Thank you. Go ahead, Vice Chair Moss.
All right, last one, standards for Utah school buses and operations. This is another continuation with a slight amendment, simply to update a reference to an updated operations manual related to school buses. So the recommended action is the committee moves that the board continues and approves R277-601, standard for Utah school buses and operations, draft 1 on second and final reading. And I will say that I cannot say I've read the entire new manual, but I'm sure our staff can answer questions.
I'm sure these are lengthy. Seeing no, Board Member Hart.
Yeah, I do want to add to that. Just want to point out to the full board that they shortened that manual considerably. I think Finance Committee, remind me, I think it was almost half of what it used to be. I think it's now down to like, I don't know, 12 to 20 pages, something, and it was almost double that, if not more. Just want to give a shout out to the folks there for making things more concise and easier to follow. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Go ahead and vote. The voting looks unanimous. And we'll go ahead and move on to Chair Lear of our Law and Licensing Committee.
Vice Chair Davis, point of order.
Yes.
I did not see Kristen Norton's vote. Thank you. Thank you. She just voted. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for helping me watch. My machine is not as friendly. Appreciate it.